So today I'm sharing with you 10 patterns that are totally free. They're great for plus sizes. So the first one I want to share with you is the Skater Valley dress. That's by Sinclair Patterns. This is a fantastic pattern. It comes with so many options. You have 3 different necklines. So you've got a scoop, a boat and a V-neck. It also comes with 3 different sleeves. So you've got a short sleeve, you've got an elbow sleeve, and you've got a lantern sleeve as well. You could also go sleeveless, so 4 in effect. It comes with 2 skirts, so you've got a half circle skirt or you've got a classic skirt. It comes with 2 darts in the front and 2 darts in the back. So if you like something a little bit more fitted, that might be the skirt for you. Basically, you can make this skirt your own. You just choose whatever options you like, and they might be very different. And that's the idea of sewing for ourselves, isn't it? So let's talk about sizes. This pattern goes up to a size 30, and it also comes with 4 different cup sizes. So the cup sizes are BC, CD, DE and E. So the upper measurements for this pattern are 59.8 bust, 52.4 waist and 63 inches based on an E cup. This pattern is made for knit fabric, so you do want something with a 4-way stretch. A 4-way stretch just means it stretches horizontally and vertically. I don't know why they call it 4-way when it's 2-way, but there you go. You want something with at least 50% stretch horizontally and 20% stretch vertically. Depending on the options you choose and the size that you need, the amount of fabric that you're going to need will vary. I'll put something on screen now which will show you the chart for that, and that will give you some idea. I love this dress because the amount of options that it does give you. There's so much scope to make it exactly what you want. For me, fit and flare is perfect for my figure, and that is why I love it so much. This pattern company are great. I used them before. They had another pattern that was free. I'm not sure if it's still free at the time of filming this, but I'll put something on screen to let you know if it's free still or not. But it was a Harper cardigan. Fantastic pattern. Didn't quite go up to my measurements, so I did have to expand it a little bit, but it was a great pattern and I can highly recommend it. I do have a video which will be linked down below. So the second garment I want to share with you is the Nyssa dress from Mood Fabrics. If you go on the Mood Sew City website, they've got hundreds and hundreds of patterns that do go into plus sizes. So go and have a look there because you may see something that you like. But this dress, it's very similar to the Eve dress by Sew Over It. And the only difference I can see is that Sew Over It have yokes there and they have gathers coming into it. This pattern doesn't have that. So it's a wrap over bodice into a full circle skirt with a high-low hem. You secure it at the waist with ties that are attached, and you do a little hole. You might do a buttonhole on the side to feed it through. It also comes with a flutter sleeves. So let's talk about measurements. This pattern also goes up to a size 30. The upper measurements for this are 58.5 bust, 49.5 waist and 63 hip. So if your measurements fall a little bit outside of the upper hip measurement, don't fret because there's so much ease in this pattern that it wouldn't hardly notice. You do want to stay within the limit for the bodice, but for the skirt there's so much ease that you will be able to get away with it. So for fabrics for this pattern, you will want something quite lightweight. You could go medium weight technically, but I probably wouldn't because you want something with a good amount of drape, a good amount of fluidity in your fabric, because that's the type of dress that it is. And there's going to be so much fabric that if your fabric is too heavy, it will weigh the hem down. Also, something else to note with this pattern is that because it has a high-low hem, if you're going to do that high-low hem, then you need to be aware that the back of your fabric is going to be on show on your back hem. So bear that in mind when you're purchasing your fabric. I love this pattern because it is so pretty and feminine. It's exactly the sort of dress that I love. I don't know that I would wear a high-low hem, but I could certainly wear it to the knees. Probably that's how I would style it, to my knees. and I would absolutely love it. I've just made a test dress, which I can't go into at the moment, and it was kind of similar to this dress, and it just flattered my figure so much, and I was so happy with it. So I would definitely be up for giving this a try. I did make the sew over at Eve dress years and years ago. I made it in a velvet, a stretch velvet fabric. Complete and utter disaster. I did not know what I was doing. If I made it again, I would make it in a floaty viscose. Something to note is, although I have never made a mood pattern myself before, I have heard the instructions can be quite sparse. There is some additional details on the blog post that I'll link below, where it does show you with pictures what to do. I wouldn't say it's very full instructions, but there are certainly some there. And if you've got the sew over at Eve dress, then you could probably follow those instructions. So the third pattern I'm going to share with you is something a little bit different. It's a little black bra. It's by George and Ginger. They've only just released it a couple of weeks ago, I believe. It is a YouTube exclusive pattern, so that just means that you'll need to watch their YouTube video to get the code at the end to get it for free. Link will be down below. So the little black bra pattern, well, it does what it says on the tin. It's a little black bra. It's a very plain bra. It's got darts for shaping, and it's got 2 band options underneath, so you can either have a thin band or a thicker band. And it's very, very simple in its construction. You can add cups or you can leave cups out depending on your own individual need, which I absolutely love. Another great thing about this pattern is it does come with layers, so when you pull it into Adobe Reader, you will be able to just choose the layers that you want, which will make it less confusing when you've printed it out and you're putting the pattern together. So let's talk sizing for a moment. This pattern comes up to a 5XL, which is fantastic. It's got an upper measurement of your full bust of 55.5 and under your bust of 48 inches. For your fabric, you're going to want a knit fabric. You're going to want a full waist stretch with at least 50% horizontal stretch. So you can use any kind of fabric that covers those bases, but it has been found that the best kind of fabrics is a cotton lycra mix, and that's a 95% cotton, 5% lycra, so do look out for that when you're doing your shopping. The great news is it's not going to take much fabric at all. You could probably do it in a yard or a metre of fabric. I will put up the grid here that shows you just how much fabric you do need, so you'll be able to ascertain from that what your own individual needs are. So the reason I like this bra is it is so simple. It would be a great first bra. Now, I've made another bra before and it was more of a traditional bra. I will leave a link to my video down below if you want to have a watch of that. It was a complete and utter disaster, if I'm honest, looking back. But that's probably because it was my first bra and it was a real complicated bra to make. Had to watch lots of videos, etc. This one, although she does do a full sew along for this, it is very simple. A lot more simple than the one I made before, and I really like that because I think with bra making it can be easy to be put off, and actually it's a really skillful thing and a great skill to have, I would say. So kudos to the company for doing this. So as mentioned at the start of this segment, you do need to go and watch her video in order to get the code to get it for free. Now, I did download that yesterday and had no problems getting it for free myself, so do that. All links to everything you need will be downstairs. Can I just stop and ask that if you are enjoying this content and you are getting value from it, you do hit that like button down below. That really helps me out because YouTube thinks that you like my content and will share it out to more people. Let's get back to the content. So the fourth pattern I want to share with you is the Portia party dress by Rebecca Page. This is a knit fit and flare dress. So with the free option, you just get one version or one option. If you want all the other options, you do need to pay for the pattern, but I think the free version is really good, and even if you wanted to make changes, it would be easy to adapt that pattern. So it's a fit and flare dress. It's got a seam line under the bust diagonally, so that will be cut on the bias, so you will want to stay stitch that when you're constructing it, otherwise it will go out of shape. But it's great to give your bust some shape in. It's very similar to the Fifi pyjamas by Tilly and the Buttons, if you know of that pattern, but it's a very, very flattering silhouette. The skirt comes down to knee length, and you have flutter sleeves that come to mid bicep. The back actually comes with two options, so it's got a slit in the back, so you can either have a really slight slit or you can have a more of an open slit. So I really like that. The full version, which is a paid version, you do get 4 options or 4 different types of dress that you could make, and also you can make it in knit or woven. So that's quite important to know if you want a bit more flexibility around this pattern. But I do really genuinely think that the free pattern is fine. So this pattern also goes up to a 5XL, and that's with a bust of 54, a waist of 50 and a hip of 57. So for the free version of this pattern, you are going to need a knit fabric. You can technically use any weight of knit fabric, but the lighter the better. This pattern, has got a lot of drape in it, and in order to have that drape, you need a fabric that's going to drape well as well. And as with the last pattern, if you have a heavier weight fabric, it will weigh down the hem. So that is something worth bearing in mind. That's worth bearing in mind because if it does weigh down the hem, there's going to be extra work for you levelling out that hem afterwards. So you'll want a full waist stretch for this one as well. You'll want at least 40% stretch horizontally and 20% vertically. You'll also want to make sure that it has good recovery so that it springs back when you've stretched it out. I'll put on screen the yardage that you will need for this pattern. I like this dress because the design of the bodice is something that I haven't seen elsewhere in the free patterns, certainly the ones that fit plus sizes. I think it's a really nice, not unique, but bit different to what is out there already. And I really like that, I especially like the back detail. So the 5th pattern I want to share with you is the Lawley skirt by Elbe patterns. This is one I only came across in my research, but I absolutely love it. So much so, I would say this is probably one of my favourite, if not the most favourite of all the patterns I'm going to show you today. So this pattern is a woven pattern for a start, and it's a gathered skirt that comes to the knee and it has a gathered waistband. It's not like a traditional gathered skirt where you would gather the skirt fabric into a flat waistband. It actually, you create the waistband out of the fabric, and you can have a drawstring through it as well. It comes with pockets and they are edged with a bias strip. Probably the most favourite feature of this pattern that I absolutely love is the deep hem. I love a deep hem, I really do. And I think, especially as the samples of this one was shown in a linen, I just think it looks gorgeous. So the way the pattern company have labelled their sizes, this goes up to an M, but it's not a medium, so don't think that. That's their largest size, and their upper measurements are 48 waist and 58.2 hips. And again, if your measurements fall a little bit outside of this, it won't matter because this is a gathered skirt. So there's going to be loads and loads of width of the fabric for you to play with. All it means is if you're a little bit bigger in the waist and the hips for this, that there'll be slightly less gathers. So don't be put off by this pattern if you fall a little bit outside of the range. So you would make this pattern with a mid-weight woven fabric that's got a nice amount of drape. You don't want anything too thick, otherwise the gathers will stick out. But if you've got a medium weight fabric that you think would work well, then go for it. I would probably use a cotton lawn on this, or a linen, a lightweight linen, or maybe some tencel. You could use viscose as well. Kind of in the way of fabrics, this pattern's more of your oyster because if you've got some fabrics that you can't use a lot of the time, such as cottons, then this might be the project for you. For the largest size, you will use up to 2.35 meters, but there will be some cutting on the cross grain, as she explains on the pattern page. For me, I like this pattern because it is simple and classic and looks so lovely. Not everyone is a fan of a gathered skirt, I'll admit, but I don't mind as long as the gathers don't stick out too much. It's important to note that if you have a full bottom, you will need to do a full bottom adjustment, otherwise the back hem will ride up. Fortunately, I showed you how to do a full bottom adjustment in my Ravenna skirt video, which I posted a few videos ago. I'll leave it downstairs so you can have a watch of that if you haven't seen it. But it's a really super quick tutorial, and I will link the video at the point where that tutorial starts so you don't have to scrub through the whole video to find it. So the sixth pattern I want to share with you is the Georgie dress by Alice & Co, otherwise known as the Mary Quant dress. This is a fully lined wrapped bodice dress. It also comes with a full unpressed pleated skirt. It also has 3/4 length sleeves. It also comes with a frill, which is completely optional, that you can put on the hem of your sleeves and around the edge of your bodice. It's close fitting with bust and waist darts, and another great feature of this is it comes with a big sash belt, so if that's your thing, you're going to love this pattern. So this pattern goes up to a size 22, which isn't quite as big as I had hoped, but to be honest, I thought it was bigger than that, and when it come to it, I thought, I'm going to show this pattern anyway because it's a really lovely pattern and it's only just shy of my own measurements. So the upper measurements are a 49, 44 and 53. So my measurements are 49, 46 and 56. So my bust fits, but my waist and my hips are 3 inches smaller. But you know, all you've got to do is divide that 3 by 4 and add that to the side of the skirt and the bottom of the bodice, and it will be fitting for me. So I did want to share this in case you have similar sizes to me. So for fabric, this is another pattern where you can use your cottons. You can use a mid-weight, but you wouldn't go too heavy just because the pleats won't fall correctly. I'd probably use more of a lighter weight cotton on this, but you can definitely use a more stable fabric with this one. You will need up to 4 meters for this fabric, for the main fabric, and 1 meter of lining fabric. For the lining, I would go more lightweight than the outer, just because there will be quite a few layers when you're done. I like this dress for the style. It's very iconic. The dress is styled after Mary Quant, who was very famous in the 60s for her fashion. And I just love the fit and flare of it. I would make it, but without the frills, I would say. So if you've made it this far, thank you so much. Only 3 more patterns to share with you, so do stay with me. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll get on to the 7th pattern. So this pattern is the Walk the Plank PJs by Patterns for Pirates. These PJs will fit men or women. They're just basic flowy, loose fitting pyjama bottoms, so you can have them as short, knee length or long. As I say, men or women. They've also got a high and a medium rise for your own comfort. It has an elasticated waistband and no side seam, and it comes with 4 inseam lengths, so that's fantastic. This pattern goes up to plus 3X, that's how they label their patterns, the largest size. So the upper measurements are 58 hip and 56 high hip. So the waist measurement is not needed because it's elasticated. So you would go on your hip measurement, and then your waist measurement should fit because you will cut the elastic to what you need it to be. So for this pattern, you can use any mid-weight fabric that you choose, or lightweight. Basically another chance to use up those cottons that you got. This pattern's so quick and easy to make up that you could batch sew this pattern without any problems whatsoever. I've got so many cottons I can't use here because it's fabric I bought when I was new to sewing and I didn't understand what I was sewing. So patterns like this that use mid-weight wovens is fantastic. And you'll need up to 3.25 yards or about 3 meters of this fabric depending on the size and the options you choose. So I like this because it is a quick and easy make and I can use any cottons that I want. And I do need to make some trousers. So the 8th pattern I want to share with you is the Agnes swing dress and top, and that's by Halla Patterns. Now this is another of my favourite patterns. Probably it's a toss up between this and the Lawley skirt as to which will get top place for me. This is a real contender because it is right up my street. I actually think it's quite similar to the Laundry Day tee. So this is a knit dress with quite a dramatic swing to it. So there's lots of options here. You can have it as a top, you can have it at your knees, or you can have it maxi. It also comes with short 3/4 or long sleeves. It has optional side pockets and it comes with neck and arm bindings, if you want to go sleeveless. So this pattern goes up to a size 30 with the upper measurements of 55 bust, 47 waist and 59 hips. So this fabric requires a 4-way stretch knit. You want at least 50% horizontal stretch with this. You want something quite lightweight, especially if you're going to do the maxi, because the fabric will weigh down. And actually, also, when you're making a maxi, as I made my Ravina skirt not long ago, when you're putting it through the sewing machine, if you've got loads and loads of fabric, it can be quite heavy. So I do think that's worth bearing in mind. The pattern says that you will need up to 3.3 yards of fabric for this pattern and another yard for the binding. I struggle to see how you would need a whole yard for a neck binding and arm binding, but there you have it. I like this pattern because, well, it's just lovely. It's very similar to the Laundry Day tee, which I absolutely love. That's by Love Notions. And it's so comfortable. It is the sort of thing that I would wear in my everyday life. And depending on the fabric you use, you could smarten it up or make it more casual. It's really up to you. So we're getting there. The 9th pattern I want to share with you is the Noor dress from the fabricstore.com. This is a company, they've got loads of patterns on their website completely free and that go up into plus sizes, so do check them out. You will need to register in order to see and download those patterns, but I will have a direct link to this pattern down below. So this is another iconic wrap dress. What can I say? I'm really feeling the wrap dresses, and honestly, wrap dresses were what fitted in to my requirements for the patterns that I was going to show you. I wanted to make sure that they went up to at least a size 30. In most cases I achieved that. They also have to be free and to my style as well. So this one is a real wrap dress. It's not a faux wrap dress. So it's got a crossover into a gathered skirt and it ties up at the side with a bit of ribbon or self fabric, whatever you want to make your ties with. So this wrap dress is a little bit different to the others just because it's got more of a slightly dramatic sleeve. It's got a little bit of a puff here. So if you want to wanted to elongate your shoulder seam, then this pattern would be a good one for you. And the sleeve is long as well, although you could cut it to any length if you wanted. So this pattern goes up to a 28/30 and the upper measurements are 56 bust, 48 waist and 58 hips. So you can make this up in a light or medium weight woven fabric. As with the other patterns, beware of the gathers, but the sample for this was made up in a linen and I think it looks absolutely lovely. So you're going to need up to 4¼ yards for this for the upper sizes in this pattern. I like this pattern because it's simple and classic. It would be quite a simple make to make up and you could make many for multiple different occasions whether you were going to a party or whether you're going to the office or whether you're just going to the shops for the day. I think this pattern is really versatile. As mentioned, you do need to register on their website to be able to download the pattern, and also once you have downloaded that pattern you will need to open it in Adobe Reader so that you can see the actual pattern. I opened it in the browser and it's got the instructions, very minimal instructions, but they do have full instructions on their website, and there is a link in the download to that. You cannot view the actual pattern pieces in your browser. You need to go to the Adobe software, go to your layers, double click on it for the pattern, and then it will expand. That's a little bit of a faff, but you know, it is worth it. It's a lovely pattern. So the final 10th pattern I want to share with you, it might be the last pattern, but it's by no means the least. In many ways it's probably the most useful, certainly for me, and that's the Ninja Leggings by 5out-of-4patterns.com. This is a basic leggings pattern, but it does come with a gusset, which is fantastic. Now, I self-drafted my own leggings ages ago. I'll leave a link to the video down below if you want to have a watch on how to do that, just by tracing out some existing leggings I had. But obviously that doesn't come with a gusset piece. I hold my hands up, I've never worn leggings with a gusset piece, but I do understand from other people that they're a lot more comfortable. So I'm actually quite tempted to make this, especially as it's a free pattern. It's got 4 rise lengths, it's got 7 inseam lengths, and additional optional pockets as well, if that's your thing. So this pattern goes up to a 5XL, and that's upper measurements of 54 waist and 61 hips. For fabric, you'll need a full waist stretch, a stretch with good recovery. You want 50% stretch minimum. A lycra blend will work really well for this. For me, I love this pattern because it's leggings. I live in leggings. You probably know that if you've watched my channel for any length of time. Any garment, any dress, any top, etc. I make, it needs to go with leggings. That is my go-to. I've tried making trousers, and I am going to be making some more trousers on my channel very soon. But leggings is where it's at, and so that's why I love it. And I do want to try leggings with a gusset. So I think I will give this one a go. So about 6 or 7 months ago, I produced a video called 3 plus size curvy patterns. It was a huge hit with you. It is my biggest viewed video on my channel. So this video was made as an extension of that, off the back of that, because I thought it would be something that would be really beneficial to you. If you really enjoyed this video and you got value from it, check that video out, which you'll see in the end cards, because it's got more patterns that you may like. If you like this video, do hit subscribe, like, comment, all the things. I also have a Ko-fi and a Patreon account if you'd like to support me further. All support is very gratefully received. Until next time, happy sewing, stay safe, bye for now.